About plateaus. So this is when you feel that you're doing everything right. You're eating right, getting enough exercise, getting enough sleep, and all of a sudden your progress just kind of stalls. So this could have meant that you were losing weight consistently and all of a sudden you can't lose weight anymore, or you were getting stronger, building muscle, and all of a sudden you just feel like you're not seeing progress anymore. And let's be honest, plateaus are total motivational killers, and they can kind of make us just feel unhappy, right? Because the changes we were seeing initially, we're no longer seeing. So I want to touch on this today. One, I want to touch on whether or not you are truly experiencing a plateau, and two, things that we can do to keep the progress moving. So first and foremost, are you really even experiencing a plateau? So there are a lot of times, and I am totally guilty of this, where we think that we've plateaued, but we've kind of just not been putting in as much effort. We've been slacking a little bit more. We kind of just been distracted. So all of these things, this lack of attention on what we were doing that we first had when we first started, is kind of just disguised as a plateau, when realistically, we need to be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves if we really are cutting out the last reps. You know, if I have to push the sled down and I'm like, I don't really want to, I'm gonna half-ass this, right? So one, we need to be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves if we really are putting in as much effort as we did in the beginning. Now, if you are, there are other reasons why we tend to plateau as well. So linear progress cannot continue indefinitely. What does this mean? This means that if you're just starting out and you start out with basic squats and then you add a bar to your back, and then after that, you start adding 5 pounds to each side, which you should. This is how you get stronger. You are going to reach a point where you cannot continually add 5 pounds to that bar every single week and continue lifting it. I mean, your body and your muscles just cannot get strong enough quick enough. If that were the case, then we would all be lifting 1,000 pounds, right? Because every single week we just add 5 pounds on. The same thing goes with weight loss. So if you're 300 pounds, it is going to be much easier for you to lose 2 to 3 pounds a week than somebody who is, let's say, 150 pounds. Why? Because you have less to lose when you are thinner. There's also this thing called adaptive thermogenesis. And this is when your body kind of just says, hey, I don't know when I'm gonna need this, so I'm gonna save it for later. So when you first start losing fat, it is a very real thing that your body could get used to you losing this fat, so therefore it is hanging on to it. It's like, hey, you've been losing a lot of this, so I'm gonna hang on to this because I don't know when I'm gonna need it again. And that is usually what happens during these weight loss plateaus as well. So your progress at a consistent pace will definitely eventually slow down. And this doesn't mean you're at a plateau. This just means that you aren't either gaining strength as quickly as you were before, or losing weight or body fat as quickly as you were before. But it doesn't mean that you've plateaued. It just means that your expectations are different. Your expectations are what they were when you first started, and your progress is much slower. Some things you guys can do to overcome these plateaus. Number one, shock your workouts. So our bodies crave efficiency and they want to be lazy, but realistically we thrive on chaos. So throw a little chaos in. A ton of times I have seen that just a change of routine can make the world of a difference in really just getting your body moving again and responding to something completely different. So if you keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, your body gets really efficient at doing this and it no longer looks at it as a challenge. So let's say you're trying to deadlifts extremely heavy and you are used to your 1 rep maxes. Instead of always just aiming for that 1 rep max, try throwing in a couple high volume days. Try doing something different to train your muscles differently as well, so they start to respond to something else. And the same thing goes with diet. So our bodies can actually become quite efficient at the calories that we're consuming and also the foods we're consuming. So if you're eating chicken, broccoli every single day, not only are you probably going to be miserable, but it is actually counterproductive and your body will get used to that, overuse that enzyme, and you will no longer be digesting or absorbing the nutrients from that food like you were originally. So it is extremely beneficial for you guys to switch it up and even switch up the calorie consumption. There are a ton of clients who come to me that seem like they have this perfect program and can't figure out where they're going wrong. And I introduce new foods to their diet and mix in some days of overeating what they're used to, mix them with intermittent fasting, and it works wonders and gets them dropping again. So again, make sure that you're mixing it up, adding variety, and just kind of switch up the patterns that you're used to. You guys can also overcome plateaus by adjusting your goals. So a lot like I talked about earlier. So if your goal was initially weight loss, take the weight loss out of the picture and focus on like handstands or jump rope or a skill that you weren't very good at, and let go of the stress of this weight loss and just get excited about something new again. Last but not least, and extremely important, you guys need to accept the bad weeks. We all do. There are days where we're gonna binge, we're gonna overeat. There are days that we're gonna feel like crap. There are days that we're gonna feel great. So take advantage of the good days and push yourself harder. And on the days that you feel sluggish or just not into it, well, instead of trying to push yourself when you're just not into it, focus on something else. Focus on the form of the movements, slower reps. Just kind of shift your mindset so that you're able to take advantage of how you're feeling that day, because it totally does play into things. So I hope this video helps. Again, if you guys are still confused and need some changes to your schedule and don't want to drive yourselves crazy, I do offer my one-on-one diet and training programs, and I can totally look at what you're currently doing, fix everything, look at your lifestyle, what's realistic for you. So what happens is you get an assessment form, I get to know you, your lifestyle, your goals, your limitations, where you're training from, pretty much everything about you and your life, as creepy as that sounds. And then I take this information and I create a diet and training program that works around all of this. So again, if you have any questions, slide on in my DM, but I hope this helped, and I'll talk to you guys soon.